Hey guys, what's up? It is Ryan. It is 9:29 a.m. and it is Tuesday, January 28th, 2020. And there's the bell. And let's take a look at our chart. We had a nice interesting Globex. Kind of tested this range. So I think what we're going to do here is probably go for the breakout. I'm thinking like 32.70 maybe? Let's see. Let's see what we get here, guys. Let's move this sucker down. Yeah, it's really crazy. Look at this dip. That is super uncharacteristic. It almost leads me to believe that we're changing conditions. So we had a little pop up, little pop down. Sorry guys, just rolled out of bed. Oh. But you gotta trade the bell if you want to get that volatility. So let's see what happens. We're in a slight downward trend off the Globex, but very slight. So there's a little pop. But we're not trading those little pops. We want to get in on whatever the direction is. I think we're going to have to go up. I'm thinking like 32.61. I'm thinking like 32.62.25. Let's do that. That'll be our long entry. You know what? I don't know if I like that. Alright, let's do this. Five-day chart, guys, looking pretty sideways. 20-day chart, pretty much looking like a downtrend with a gap. Yeah, we probably only want to buy at a breakout level. Let's go to, let's see. This is one of the more complicated days of trading the open that I've seen in a while. Let's see. It's not doing too much. There's our 50 MA. Starting to head down. Alright. Okay, there we go. Alright, we're starting to get a little bit of movement. I'm not doing a lot of commentating on this video because we're just looking at a very peculiar chart on the open with a gap, and it looks like a downtrend. We're going to come in short at 32.48. We're going to play this very conservatively. We only want short if it's definitely going short. We're not going to go to these Globex lows. I mean, it could super easily pop back up, but that's our confirmation that we're going low for the day, as far as I'm concerned. So, on the high side, wish this platform wasn't shit. Restart the platform, guys. Restart the video in a second. Hey guys, sorry about that. I think we got our chart fixed up here. So this is a situation with the open where it's kind of popping up, popping down, up, down. You know, there's a gap right here. But ultimately, you know, it is on a downward trend, but we're going to want to trade for confirmation for sure. It does look like the market is switching to a downward trend for sure. So the Globex low was 32.3875. You know, we want at least a piece of that action, but we want to get in under 32.50. Because the last thing we wanted to do is come down to 32.50 and then pop back up and then fully reverse over the 32.63 high. And we just don't want that to happen. We don't want to lose the trade. So we would rather enter where we really know it's going down. If we wanted to be even more patient, we could put it all the way down here. If we wanted to be ultra conservative and patient, we could put it all the way down here. But the thing is, what goes down must come up, vice versa. You want to catch a little bit of the action. So our entry short looks pretty good as long as we manage it. Our entry long, we're going to draw trend lines here in a second. We're just going to watch the trade and see how it kind of materializes. You have a lot of shorts coming in on anything that resembles a pop. And if we do start going high, I think we really do want to be above the breakout level, but I don't know if I want to sacrifice 10 points to enter. So I think we could take a little more of an aggressive entry, but we're going to need to see our trend before we do any of that. It's all technical analysis at the end of the day. But for now, while I get my coffee, we are actually going to put, in case it goes like super parabolic up, we will put an entry at 32.61. And guys, your job is to keep an eye on this chart. And we're going to see if we get that fill short. And my job is to go get some coffee real quick because I just rolled out of bed. So hang on. And I do enjoy sharing these. Hopefully you're getting some out of it. Looks like the viewership is going up a little bit. I think there's some other guys that do kind of like clickbaity shit with their. I don't even know if they show their. I highly doubt it. Most people are going to hang it over your head and charge you and all that good stuff, but got a new pool cleaner. Looks like that sucker's working. Good to know. Got a big old tub of coffee from Kroger. Medium roast premium blend. I got it right next to my whole bean Pete's coffee. I don't have time for that shit. We're trying to trade the open. So we're going to go with the cheap shit. As I mentioned previously, I like to stay up late. I'm a night owl, but I'm really starting to like trading the open. So that's presented a little bit of an issue. And I've had to pretty much set an alarm, snooze it once, and then get my ass the fuck out of bed. And it's been okay. It gets me on a little circadian schedule, even though I'm only getting 6.5 hours of sleep, but I get to kind of show you guys how to trade, and I think it's worth it. Not monetizing my videos way too early. Nor will I ever become a clickbaity channel, because trading futures than you can clickbaiting people for day trading through YouTube, which should be a red flag to people, but they don't really understand that, it's just complete bullshit. So, if you have all that money, either A, just show your live trades and help people. You're not going to break the market. Or B, charge a very little bit of money for your services. Don't totally kill people. But what I like to do is, I do offer training, but I don't really explicitly make it a point of hanging my trade over your head for training. The only way that I will train somebody is if they're watching my videos and they see me trade, and then they try to copy my trades or do whatever they think they're doing, and they go, "Hey Ryan, it's not working. I see how you're trading. I'm trying to copy exactly what you're doing, but I'm losing money. What do I do?" And usually that's a psychological issue with between that person and the money, and usually that's where I have to start. So in those cases, I would offer training for people. But I'm certainly going to show you trades, and, it's up to you to make the money on your own account, but, you can't necessarily copy my trades. It seems like you might be able to, but it's a lot more than that. You have to kind of have the feel for the market, and that's something that I can teach, but I only do training on, case-by-case basis. It depends on the person. Coffee tastes good. Let's get some nicotine on those lozenges. Revel lozenges made by Altria, which I believe is big tobacco. And we will see how we're progressing in the market here. This is going to end up being a little bit of a longer video for the open. Let's see what we have here. Alright, well, we're going to start drawing our trend lines for the day. And what it looks like is that we are on a continuation of the Globex downtrend. So, let's stretch this out a little bit. Zoom in on that a little bit. We're going to go standard drawing tool per the usual. We're going to do it two ways. We'll do it from peak to peak, corresponding low to the most recent low. And there's our cone. Obviously, if you're buying market long in this situation, you're really asking for trouble. So let's go down here. Let's look at the 5-day. The 5-day has a gap right down here, and it's swinging up and down. there's nothing to say that it's not going to keep going down. I think our entry here is pretty solid. I mean, we'll have to see, but let's go out to the 10-day. 10-day is an absolute fucking disaster. Really gives me the impression that we're heading down with a large gap, although there could be a correction. Let's go to the 20-day. Absolute disaster. This is the trade right here that we hit on Friday. Should have held that trade. We would have been up $3,000 or $4,000 on that trade. I think we made $600. Not bad. We did that in, I think, a half hour. Now let's go out more. Let's go to the 180-day. All the way since September, like I had said before. All the way really since August. We had a gap up. And then it's been this constant, beautiful technical uptrend. And you see my trend lines here. But let's zoom in closer. We're getting to where we're kind of below a breakout low out of that trend. So we're going to either need to correct back into these levels, these middle of the road levels that we've been on for months, which is, pretty likely to happen. Or it's going to end up dipping, down to the previous year's levels, which I think is more unlikely. I think that we're looking more at an upward scenario, but since we trade intraday, we're still going to put our short in. If we see that the price is breaking out high, that's fine. We're going to play that. But we're going to let the market materialize instead of trying to scalp. So let's go back to, well, no, we'll leave this at our 180-day chart. And I know this video has been like 15 minutes without a fill yet, but I try to give you guys the entire experience. It's not always pretty. Sometimes it's trading right off the bell. And we opened up at 32.57. We went up to 32.61. Not worth it in my opinion. We did go down to 32.53. So that trade would have been a nice short right there. So those guys who took that short, they did good. Very risky trade. Very risky trade. Worth it if you're in a hurry, if you need to get out the door, but if you're trying to make money consistently, I don't like that trade. And now we're just kind of bobbing around here, so I'm going to take a sip of the coffee. And we want to enter like at or above this breakout zone. And as we get more data on the session, it makes it a lot easier to figure out kind of what's going on. We're going to need to redraw our trend lines because we had a gap up. We have more data now for intraday. It does still look like a continuation of the downtrend, but we're now going to focus only on the intraday. What I like to do for intraday is draw my trend lines along the first top to the most recent top, as I've mentioned in other videos. I know some of you guys aren't seeing all of my videos, but you can like and subscribe if you want to see the only trader on YouTube that actually trades live with the market as it's happening without holding a piece of filet mignon over your head and asking for $300 a month. But and then I go from the bottom to the most recent bottom. It doesn't matter if I have to cut through. That's how I draw my trend lines, and it doesn't have to be pretty. What you're trying to achieve is a cone here or a point to where we might get a point of contention or an intersection or a collision of the bottom and the high. To a point to where it's, got to break out one way or the other. And this has been one of the slower opens that I've seen in a while. So I think the market got the best of a lot of folks yesterday. And we did well yesterday, so. And we did well by waiting for confirmation and not getting greedy in the beginning of the session. Normally we have our fill by now and we're in the trade. We're still waiting for a fill, which is okay. So our bottom side entry again, guys, is 32.48.25 below the breakout zone, 32.50. If it starts really shit hits the fan, we're getting it. Same thing with this trade. We want to get in above 32.60. The reason we want to do that is because that's kind of our high. Now, if we zoom out, we tested that 2 other times in the Globex. So if we break out, we're actually entering a little prematurely. It could actually hit our entry and then pop down. We might lose a couple dollars on that. Ideally you'd want to trade the breakout probably like up here. Oh, it's not going to let me move it. TD is a really bad platform. Like 32.61.75 would be an even safer way to trade this. If you wanted to be really safe and trade on major confirmation, 32.63.50. But the thing is, price is at 32.57. You might leave some extra money on the table. But we are actually going to leave it up here. We want it to go just slightly above where it tested, right here, 32.62, a few times. We want to make sure that it can at least get there. And instead of trading against that high, and I may change this depending on how the price actually unwinds here, it looks like it is starting to reverse trend though and head up. We'll see if that's a fake or if that's a continuation. We may want to go even higher if we start to really see that the price is going up. Let's go ahead and cancel this trade. We are going to come in at 32.63. We just have to, guys. It's the responsible thing to do. 32.63.50 is where I think we need to be on this trade. As you can see, we opened up with the downtrend. This was our trend. It almost looks like we drew random lines because that trend is gone. What we're going to do is remove those trend lines. As you can see, if we go from the bottom to the bottom here, and then we go from our top to our top, looks like we have the beginning of an uptrend. This was the trend that we just followed, and it led us to believe that the price may be going down. Fucking tool. Let's go. So our initial cone was down fairly sharply, but a little sideways, and now we have, it looks like a little sharper of a upward trajectory, and the price is just looking very anemic. Now, if we forget about the chart for a minute and just look at price action, that'll give us an idea what's going on too. And sometimes you just want to do that. You get an idea for volume that's coming in, where the price is actually heading. You can see, it skipped, like 3 ticks on that pop. This is something you just want to sit and evaluate, just price action. Down 1 tick, up 1 tick, down 1 tick, completely sideways, up a tick, down a tick. And that's just sideways trading, but eventually there will be an imbalance in the volume, and that's what makes the price move. Throwing that first lozenge of the day, guys. Really wish I had my snus, but I kind of had to get off that shit. And it's just, I don't know if they make it up to the standards of the Swedes. I highly doubt it. So, on to lozenges and gums for now, and may buy some Swedish snus just to chill on occasionally, but trying to find the right gum or lozenge that actually does the trick. So we're just kind of sitting here watching price action and seeing if our trend is going to develop here. We are going to remove all existing trend lines. Stretch this chart out a little bit so you guys can really see what's going on. A lot of times it is helpful just to put your trade into a window that you can see. Just fit it nicely in there. You can see the entire open. The big move was really here from 32.61 to what, 32.53. That's a big move. I mean, for a lot of people, that was the move. That might have been the move. For us, we're not playing those little quick scalps. That happened. That move happened in like 4 minutes. And that's why I do like trading the open generally. But normally, we're going to open up in a huge trend. It may take a while until we get this breakout, guys. So I am going to pause the video for now. But you see where our entries are. We are 32.48. 25 on the low side. And we're going really ultra conservative on the high side, 32.63.50. And before I stop the video, I just want to make sure we're not on a breakout here. Alright guys, I'm going to go ahead and stop the video. You're not going to miss anything once we get our fill. And we'll go from there. Hey guys, we did go ahead and get our fill. So now we have confirmation that the price is high for the day. Started this crazy downward trend, and good golly, it looked like it was going to tank out. It still could, but it does look like the direction is now up, so we're going to go ahead and remove our trend lines here. And we're going to see how we fare on this trade. It is going to bob around a little bit. It could be the world's biggest fake out. Now, here's what's going to happen. It already broke out above these levels, but it still could get shorted by opportunists for sure. There's going to be a lot of potential shorting, but the thing is, overall on the macro chart, we're looking for a recovery back to these levels, and we're even going to go to the, I really hate to look at like 20-day charts, but even on the 20-day, we need to get back up to like these levels here, like 33.20s. So it looks like the market sentiment is such to where, I mean, we're on a pretty sharp upward trend. We're holding our trade. We're not going to get faked out of this trade unless it crashes through the ground, in which case we'll have to make this trade back up in the future. But we want to let this trade run for a minute. And just in case I decide to leave out the first part of this video because I was just rolling out of bed, it is Tuesday, January 28th, 2020. It's actually 10:09 a.m. Started, with the bell, and we've been at this for an hour, and it was doing some weird shit in the beginning, and it wasn't kind of materializing. We did see that there was the downtrend continuation from the Globex, but then there was this weird pop. The main thing that had happened between the Globex and our session, if you look at this line here, we tested here, here, and here along this peak, and then we tested it here. It got shorted, and then it broke out, and that's where our entry was. It was at that breakout, and that leads us to right now. And we just hit our new high for the day. So our Globex low is 32.38.75. The high is 32.64.75. What we're going to do is zoom out. Actually, we're just going to bring the chart down a little bit here. And I do want to, on the 20-day, we would probably want to, let's see, 33.37 is the 20-day high. I mean, honestly, guys, if you look at the 20-day chart, there's a huge gap that we need to fill. The price is probably going to go up today, from what I can see, as long as we can maintain this trend. Because look, we've cleared. Sorry, guys. Sorry about the drawing tool there. If you look at, that was our Friday trade. We've kind of cleared this peak here. This would be the only area that we need to worry about. If we start getting up to like 3270, in fact, we're going to put another scale in at, I think we're actually going to do 2 scale-ins. Let's figure out where they're going to be on the intraday chart. Since we are now clear, we're going to want to go for landmarks. So I'm going to want to do 3271 as a scale. And I actually don't want to do it right on the whole number. I'd probably rather do it at like 25. And if it keeps going, now we're going to leave that at 3 contracts, I think. Now remember, when we add the contract long, let's go ahead and add an emergency stop short as well. And now our trade is set up. We are still in a risky business here. You can see our entries where these 2 little dots are if you're new, which I know a lot of you guys are, and you can see the price is starting to take off. So if this is, Elon Musk's SpaceX dock, it looks like the rocket took off. We're not sure if it's going to, land right away or if it's going to, break and fall through the earth, or if, we're going to get a safe orbit here. But we're going to kind of wait and see. And you can see the price action's kind of bobbing around. And this is good because we want to see what the first dip actually brings off this high. If we keep making new highs, that's going to be really good confirmation. A lot of these people coming in shorting are going to stop shorting and the price is going to go up. That's how that works. So you don't want to just sell on a dip. You want to be protected in the trade. You don't want to blow your account up. But it really doesn't have to do with money. It has to do with seeing technically how far out of this upward trend we can get. And we're going to zoom out. We're going to do our trend lines bottom to bottom. You can see sharp uptrend and top to top. Oh shit. Yeah, no, we're good. Sorry guys. Let's zoom in here and just put this into a nice pretty picture. We're going to slide this down, stretch that out there, so that way you can see both our stop and, this is where we wanted to enter low. We're going to use that as an emergency stop for now while we let this float away from our price. Now, it's floating away from our entry, which is good, but we're only going to we've just confirmed another high, so that's good. So now a lot of the shorts are going to stop. They're like, oh, I hit a high, oh shit, the price must be going up. They're out. They sell their short positions. More people are buying long. Some people are buying market. People are starting to get the impression right now on Wall Street that we're filling the gap. Oh, buy, right? Another high. We just hit another one there. Let's go ahead and wait for it. And another high. And another high. So, guys, we're plowing highs. But what we're going to want to do, we now have $400 of insurance. I'm just going to explain to you guys how to manage this trade while we're actually in it. If you're happy with 450, you can take it. There's nothing wrong with that. But what you can do is use your P&L open as an insurance policy. So now we have from where the price is here to here as an insurance policy. We want to see what the dip can bring, and we want to see if, most importantly, if the dip, even though that line's a little crooked, can fall down and break these bottoms of these trend lines. And I'm actually going to remove this. I'm going to draw it from the bottom peak here. And the only reason I'm doing that instead of the first bottom is so that if it breaks down to like 3261, 3260, that's when we're going to see the trend reversal. So we're going to see what kind of balls this dip has behind it. And if it gets like if it gets to like 3263.50, that's kind of a problem. But if it gets down to like, 32.60 again, and then it starts to fall down, that's a problem. But we want to see what this dip can bring. There's going to be a lot of people that are scalping the dips now that we're in an uptrend. So that's just going to be the way it's going to go. So there's going to be dips. There's also going to be people shorting whenever we get to a top ridge of this uptrend. So that's just how it's going to work. But clearly, the market is in somewhat of agreement that the price is going up. So there's really no need for us to stop ourselves out here unless we run into a real problem. But our entry is too close to set our stop to even. We would have to be below the trend, and I'm going to remove these because we're going to draw fresh ones. So we started out with this bottom trend here. We're just going to go from the first top to the, I'm going to draw all the way through. So the direction that it could have went in the beginning was here. We'll draw right from the bottom, and we'll go through this bottom. So initially it looked like it was kind of, it broke high and then this huge short happened. People made money there, which is great, but it was more of a scalp play because that happened in like 3 minutes. That's not really our type of play. We're playing on confirmation, on a trend. Intraday trend is how we like to trade. I guess you could say it's swing trading to a degree, sort of, but it's all intraday unless we enter in the Globex. So we had the potential for this cone to occur. This cone, it just couldn't hold. It broke high out of that cone, and now we have this trend. We have kind of this cascading cone upwards. So we could have shot downward, and it looks like now we're shooting upward. So we had two different scenarios that were going to happen, and the chances of this being an ultra super fake out would be slim. Something that could cause a fake out situation would be like something in the news coming out, something Trump tweets, somebody going to war, some oil field getting smacked by a missile, and those are things that we hope against as technical traders because that's going to cause these big parabolics. If we see that happen, we just flatten the trade out. We have no business sitting here trying to scalp crazy news. We want to trade consistent, stable trends. When the market is in a heartbeat, we just want to make sure we're in the right, direction, and that's why we put our entries so wide. So again, guys, I'm not sure if I'm going to post the first half hour of rolling out of bed, looking at the market. It was super boring, but I know a lot of you guys like that stuff, so I might just put a message to fast forward the video to the point to where we got entered if you want to see the entry. But if you want to see the entire process, the not so pretty, and me just coming in, looking at the chart, and kind of evaluating what I'm going to do and how I'm going to play the market without knowing anything, no pre-market analysis. I don't really like to give myself a bias. I know a lot of people like to look at gold and I like commodities. I just think the price action moves a little weird. I like trading the ES. I find it to be, I don't want to say easier to trade, but more consistent, where commodities pop around a lot. But I don't want to go off on too much of a tangent, but that first part of the video might be a little boring for you guys. Definitely don't want to make anybody fall asleep, but it looks like we're still on this upward trajectory here. I'm going to go ahead and just refill my coffee. Hang with me, guys. Going for 2 cups today. We're going to need to go a little nuclear up in this bitch. And let's see if my coffee got cold. It's still kind of hot. That's awesome. So it was just a slower day on the open, and that happens. But by being patient and not having that FOMO and not feeling like we're missing out on the trade, that's where we're really going to gain confidence in knowing that our entry is within a trend, that we have full confirmation of, and that's super important. So just keep that in mind, that it's not, sometimes you have to lose out on 10 points to know
the direction of the market, and that's what happened with that short. If we would have scalped that short, that might have been it for the day. It was a good 8-point scalp, but we're going to try to sit in the trade, unless it breaks low. We're just microwaving our coffee. We're in Georgia from Philadelphia, and it gets cold in Georgia. I don't know if you guys are aware, but it does get cold. So we are making a hot coffee. That'll probably do. A little hit of milk. Might hit it with a little, where's my goddamn creamer at? Hit it with a little creamer. Don't want to go crazy here because I'm trying to fast a little bit. So that creamer will count as breakfast. And I'm just going to pop this in the micro. We're just letting this chart transpire. And then we'll come back and evaluate what the move is going to be. Whether we're going to close the trade or whether that trend is continuing. We're going to try to let the market dictate that, but if it gets squirrely and it looks like there's a trend reversal about to happen, like I believe that's exactly what happened yesterday, we're not going to risk it. We're going to take our profits. All right, coffee. Strongly recommend coffee and nicotine in the morning to get you rolling. All right, let's get back to the desk. Perfect timing. We're starting to get our dip. We're going to see what the market's made of. We're going to draw a perfect trend line along the bottom. What in the mofo? We're starting to get a little wider angle here. If we draw it here to here, if we draw it here to here, you can see that we're breaking out of the small trend. If we go to the most recent, but I really wouldn't call that a low as far as the trend low. I'd say it would have to go down a little further. So let's see if that happens. All signs are still pointing, if you look at our entry here, that we are moving. We're going to look at the price action. Sometimes, guys, when the chart's just moving a little slowly, it's good just to look at the price action. Here's where we took off. Let's see if the price leaves where we took off. There it is. There it goes. Let's move up. A responsible thing to do here would be to move our stops back to even. 1, 2, and then we're 2 positions long. We're only going to use 2 stops. If we hit our scale in 3 long, then we're going to want to go, obviously, add another stop. So we're moving on up. We're heading towards our next entry. I wonder if we're going to keep going up. And, I mean, how did we know that this was going to happen? It seems like we're confident about the direction. Well, we looked at the trend lines and we waited for confirmation. That's all we did. It just made a really crazy move right here. 32.61 to 32.53. There was money made. There was money made on that move. Look at that, guys. You know, a few minutes ago, you're probably thinking, Ryan, what the fuck are you doing putting an entry way up there? You're losing out. Well, we want to trade for confirmation. We want to get above 32.71, and now, hopefully it'll keep rolling. There it goes. Now remember, we're going to add our stop here, just in case. We're now going to have to zoom the chart out because it's going up so high. We are going to remove our trend lines just to get all this shit out of here. That's all we have to do right now. And what we're actually hoping for is a dip because we want to test the strength of the market. This is kind of the trajectory that the market could have went to. It could have went to 32.40. We're going to see what this dip actually brings. But what happens is when the price keeps going higher and higher and higher, two things are going to happen. One, you're going to get people thinking that's the high and that it's going to short. And then you're going to get a lot of people, I'd say probably more, that are like, holy shit, this is an uptrend. We started at 32.51, we're at 32.72. We need to take advantage of this. So that's kind of the methodology of the thinking of what people are doing there. So let's see what this dip actually brings. I'm going to show you guys something if we start to get squirrely here on how to reload and lock profits. Depends on what happens. We're still getting buys coming in. Let's stretch this chart out so you guys could really see the action here. Here we go. If you can see, this is looking from 10:02. It's 10:27. I'm not liking that at all. If we start to see too many shorts coming in, we're going to sell. That's going to be it, guys. 812 on the session. What we did there is a really boring pre-market, well, not pre-market, but opening video because we didn't take a trade here. We wanted to see what was going on. We wanted to get our entries wide outside of confirmation levels. That's exactly what we did. We let the price move through our entry, and then we scaled in to an extra contract, protected with emergency stops, and that's going to be the trade for today. Looks like it's on that uptrend. And I was thinking about showing you guys a scalp, but I don't know if I want to do that. Let me see real quick. Not sure if I want to do the scalp. If you look at the 20-day candle, you can see that that's a huge boner northward. And this could very well be correcting Friday's gap. I mean, there's nothing saying that it can't. So, if you wanted to get in on this, you could. I mean, I could sit here and trade this thing all day, but, you can lose trades eventually. But really what you could do is you could come in at 32.81 and you could be really ultra conservative about it. And then you can come down here if you wanted to at 32.49. That would be a decent setup. Let's pull that together. That would be a decent setup based on what we're looking at now. But it looks like it's getting a little wonky here. Let's see how much this sells off. Let's see if we got out at the right moment before we stop the video. Stretch this out a little bit. Pull that down. We're just going to look at the chart. Whoa, shit. See if we break this trend. Bottom. Bottom. Top. Top. So the trend breakout zone would be right around 32.65. That's a little sketchy because that's kind of a psych level that could go down and pop all the way back up, and it could keep going up. That's very likely to happen. If I had to guess, I'd say the market's probably going to keep going up, but it could very well go down. Could be a fake out, but I doubt it because it looks like a trend. Let's take a nice stretch here. And as you can see, from the point to where we
exited the trade, it started to get a little squirrely. And like I said, if we start breaking this little red trend line from bottom to bottom and we start getting down here, that's going to be where kind of that move is done. Now that's not to say that it can't dip and then just continue to pop back up. It absolutely can, and it probably will. But we're going to be okay with 2 contracts and a third added at the end of the trade with $812. I mean, it's not terrible. So, that's really where we're looking. And it looks like I'm going to leave that to be the video for today, guys. If I decide to reload and do another trade, I'll let you know. But we got 812.50 on the day, just kind of waiting, for that first hour to kind of go by. It actually has been just over an hour since the market opened, and we have been trading it for the entire hour. So, all we did was use trend lines here, and we just waited for the chop to stop on the open and figure out what the direction is. Price move through our entry. I explained how to get to where we're going to look to see what our entries are going to be. We made very conservative entries based on confirmation of the market direction. And there you go, guys. That's how you get profitable. And have a good day.